Nero. Lex is masterful, brave, and competitive. He likes authority. He aspires toward an ideal. He likes to give advice. He is honest, frank, loyal, open, and sincere. Possible issues: pride, vanity, arrogance, presumption, and disdain for others. Leo with a Cancer ascendant. Lex is given to pouting and sulking. Very warm, sensitive, and loving personality. He is gently persuasive, can be quite the actor. He is brilliant at reading the room. Can seem okay on the sidelines, but will do whatever he can to get back to the lead or center stage. Proud but will also maneuver things to work in his favor if need be. May take everything quite personally. Sun in 3, the sun is in the 3rd house. Lex needs activity and a change of scenery often, or he feels restless. He takes pride in his mental agility and friendships. With his ability to adapt quite easily to whatever environment he's in, Lex can be quite flexible and quick on his feet. There is a strong need to communicate his knowledge to others and to learn. Lex's curiosity is endless. Advice: Lex has a solid grasp of facts and a strong influence on his peers. Key points: intensely curious, resourceful mind, a jack of all trades, and easily bored. Lex enjoys movement, small changes, new settings, and stimulating discussions or studies. He needs satisfying channels for self-expression, taking pride in his mental accomplishments. People turn to him for advice, help, or information. 803 conjunction between the sun and moon. Lex's emotions and will are in sync with one another, suggesting a rather balanced personality. The messages Lex received in childhood were not contradictory overall, and he has a stronger sense of purpose than most people. Lex is likely personally popular, mainly because he expects harmony in his relationships. Lex is attractive to most people, and his self-confidence and security makes him easy to deal with on many levels. Lex's relaxed, easygoing disposition puts others at ease. His default setting can be unprepared for conflict. He may acquiesce to others a little too often, if only to maintain balance and harmony, as he prefers to avoid conflict. This influence brings a tendency toward too much acceptance of the self, and Lex may need prompts and encouragement to question life, or he risks taking things in his relationships for granted. Lex's vitality is usually good and quite constant. Lex is not necessarily hard driving, unless other indications in the chart point to it, but his constitution is generally strong. At any rate, Lex is not as prone to the ups and downs that often plague those with challenging aspects between the sun and moon. This is because even though his life goals and emotional needs differ, they are largely in harmony. Short description: well-rounded and harmony-oriented. Lex has lots of vitality and more potential than he may realize. Lex loves public life, he is popular, and others appreciate his company. Lex is balanced, at ease with himself. He has potential to make a good guide or mediator. -86 square between the sun and Mars. Lex possesses an unmistakable competitiveness and a me-first attitude. The fighter persona is most apparent in youth, when the child is described as a bundle of energy, or it is remarked that they can't sit still. The abundant energy generated by this aspect is hard to direct in childhood. It's strongly implied Lex has ADHD and borderline personality disorder that has been left untreated since he refused to take his medication for ADHD growing up. Later in life, ideally, Lex learned to channel some of his excess energy into productive avenues, perhaps through career, business, or any area where competitiveness is considered an asset, in this case being a filmmaker and editor for Nick's Hard Records. Nevertheless, Lex can meet up with more than his share of conflict and frequently rubs people the wrong way. Lex is very motivated to get things done, to take action rather than simply talk about something, and to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Those who know Lex quite well might describe Lex as hot-headed and temperamental at times. Lex is easily frustrated and easily gives into his impulsive actions due to this and his untreated ADHD and borderline personality disorder. If the aspect occurs in cardinal signs, it gives impulsiveness and a short temper. If the aspect is found in fixed signs, the natives can be hard-headed and willful. If it's in mutable signs, it gives a restless and frustrated impatience. Essentially, Lex has faced conflict and is not particularly afraid of it. Lex has frequently dealt with having his need to assert himself blocked. Lex's mother had done as much as she could to tame what she felt to be excess energy or aggression. In other words, Lex knows all about conflict and blockages so that when he comes face to face with a challenge or a roadblock, he doesn't run away from it or hide under the covers. Lex meets challenges head-on. Key traits: Lex is energetic, willful, unafraid of a challenge, and combative. -20 square between the sun and Lilith. He has a self-destructive side to him that should be managed by confronting his fears. He might worry about a friend betraying him, although others find this person charming. The moon. The moon represents the emotional responses, unconscious predestination, and the self-image. The moon represents the emotions, and the moon sign shows how a person expresses themselves when at home, at ease, and comfortable. The moon is in Leo. This is a warm, creative, and proud position of the moon. Moon in Leo people want to create and entertain. They love deeply and largely. They can be rather lazy at times and a little bossy too. Generally, though, they have a deep need to treat others fairly and justly. Lunar Leos require lots and lots of love and care in order to function well in the world. Depending on other positions in the chart, Moon and Leo people aren't always outgoing. When they feel comfortable, they do like being the center of attention. That is, they enjoy being in the spotlight, in the comfort of their own homes and with family and friends. They love entertaining others and often take on the role of comic or storyteller. Lunar Leos often feel a need to organize and even control their families and friends. They have an inner mission to set things right and generally like to oversee the goings-on in their circle. When they feel slighted, these people can be dramatic in their emotional displays. When their pride has been hurt, they are given to big scenes and sulking. This rarely happens in public, however. Lunar Leos are far too concerned about their image to make splashy scenes outside the comfort of their own homes. In public, they prefer to take things in dignified ways. At home, however, big displays of emotional drama aren't uncommon. Wherever they are, they can secretly feel they are on stage. These scenes generally only last a little while, however. Lunar Leos are often personally popular folk who are valued for their integrity and strong sense of justice. Generally, it is easy to reason with a lunar lion. Appealing to their well-developed sense of fairness usually works well. Short description: Lex is brave, knowing how to take risks and possessing the courage of his convictions, honest, imposing, and sharp. He has a great sense of, and respect for, justice. Expressive, seeking adoration, organizational sense, selective with friends but is not overly influenced by them. Taste for splendor, a social leader, potential issues, changing in numerous affections. Emotionally demanding and proud, brooding when attention is not forthcoming. Moon in 3, the moon is in the 3rd house. Key traits: highly imaginative, but may have difficulty concentrating. He fantasizes frequently. Mental diversity, quick to learn, observant, enjoys studies, also fidgety, moves around a lot, and travels frequently. Lex is very responsive, communicative, and curious. He has a talent for imitating others and/or picking up languages. Lex either intellectualizes his emotions rather than truly feel them and deal with them, or communicates with excessive emotion. His opinions and ideas change often, and might sometimes adopt others' points of view and express ideas as if they are his own. This is not because Lex is a copycat but because he sometimes fails to own his own thoughts and is very sensitive to others' opinions. Lex is very quick to pick things up. Often nervous and restless, Lex requires frequent changes of scenery, even if the movement or travel takes place locally. Lex can have friends that are like siblings, and he's very attached to connections made in childhood, like Clark and Selena. Lex has potential to be an excellent teacher and interesting conversationalist. -105 square between the moon and Mars. Lex is precocious, animated, and passionate. He seeks emotional excitement in his life. Although Lex often projects a brave and tough image, his skin isn't as thick as he'd have others believe. Lex tends to put up defenses due to his emotionally vulnerable and excitable disposition. Unrest is characteristic, as he is bored by routine and become easily frustrated when life is too easy. There's a buzz of energy surrounding Lex, and he tends to meet with many conflicts in his life. With the opposition, the conflict tends to be lived through relationships. The passions are quite raw, especially in youth. Although Lex can be a decidedly amiable and interesting person, others always seem to sense his boundaries. Something is bound to get him worked up, and it's not always clear what that something will be. His bluntness can be both appreciated and considered offensive, depending on the audience. Lex is eager to make a personal impact on those around him. Lex is too eager in this sense, and comes across as self-absorbed and difficult to stomach. Patience is definitely not Lex's strong point. Lex's responses are quick, and he's a passionate person who is usually quite courageous, although his energy is sporadic and sometimes wasted. Lex is also sexually responsive. Short description: Lex is very emotional and can be driven to do things by his emotions. He may not always think things over or through in a given situation. He can be irascible and easily angered or fired up. Domestic strife or a heated atmosphere at home and work is a regular occurrence for Lex. Ascendant is Cancer. These people come across as gentle creatures. There's something familiar about them, they're the guy or gal next door. When they enter a room, they don't walk in with a splash. Instead, they move to the sides and weave their way inwards. These people have a familiar feel to them. Because they are rather sensitive to their environment, they can get flustered easily, especially in public. Their first instinct, when threatened or on unfamiliar ground, is to protect themselves. When new situations present themselves, they can immediately withdraw or act shy. Generally, these people come across as caring people. They seem quite sweet, even innocent. Usually, these people appear unassuming enough to be quite approachable. Some Cancer ascendants, however, have retreated into themselves so much as to be quite the opposite. Since Capricorn is on the descendant, Cancer ascendant people are looking for structure and security in their partner and their relationship. These people function best when their partner displays strength, financial and emotional stability, and know-how. In fact, many Cancer ascendants prefer it when their relationship has well-defined rules. Security is the basic need, and they are generally more than willing to give up some personal freedom in order to get it. In some cases, Cancer ascendant people can surprise their partners. Why? Because they come across as rather unassuming, family-oriented people. When it comes to marriage, they have a rather matter-of-fact, practical approach. House 2, the second house, is the area of material security and values. It rules money and personal finances, sense of self-worth and basic values, personal possessions. Cancer on House 2. Cancer is a fruitful sign to have on a money house. Lex can rely on sound instincts to acquire and save money. Very good money sense, although financial fluctuations may be frequent in his life. He can use his keen ability to home in on what the public wants and needs, and benefit financially. He may be a hoarder, but certainly assigns much sentimental meaning to personal possessions. House 3, the third house, is the area of social and intellectual learning. Leo on House 3. Somewhat opinionated in speech, keenly interested in education, and a good teacher. Proud of siblings and may tell countless stories about growing up. He is a very good organizer. Everything is carefully studied, explained, and swiftly executed. House B, the fifth house, is the area of creative self-expression, romance, entertainment, children, and gambling. Libra on House B. He is delicate, with a taste for luxury. His friends are the same, refined. House B, the sixth house, is the area of learning by material transaction. Sagittarius on House B. May prefer jobs that involve travel, moving about a lot. Weak point. Circulation. House 8, the 8th house, is the area of emotional security and of security of the soul. Capricorn on House 8. Natural death in very old age likely probability. Inheritances. House 6, the 9th house, is the area of learning that shapes the identity. Aquarius on House 6. A professional, he is innovative and original. He likes travel, communicating with different people. Long research. House X, the 10th house, is the area of material action. The midheaven represents the work one will do in one's life, the place one will take in the world of society. It becomes more important as one grows older. Pisces on House X. Professional success in solitary professions. Archivist, librarian, historian, etc. House 11, the 11th house, is the area of search for social and intellectual security. Aries on House 11. He likes to be surrounded by friends full of vigor, solid, spirited. He carries out everything he takes on. House 12, the 12th house, is the area of education and of emotion. This is where we meet our karma, deal with endings, and sometimes where we bury things. Gemini on House 12. Anxiety, preoccupation concerning a dear one.